Welcome back, everyone, to a new episode of Nerd Central, or should I say, Spooky Central. That's right, today is Halloween, so that means trick-or-treating, costume parties, and spooky movies. But here on Spooky Central, we have frightening news and some petrifying facts for you all today. So let's get ghoulish with it. Starting from last week at the NYCC, we had some really cool news revealed for the hit anime One Piece. In the reveal, we got to see a graphic for the new outfits for their upcoming arc in Elbaf, the Island of Giants. In the graphic, we see the Straw Hats in very stylized outfits related to the island they're traveling to, carrying the tradition of stylized outfits related to the arc they're in. So far, we don't have a release date for it, but still, with the anime speeding along, the arc should be here sooner rather than later. Continuing with news from NYCC, Marvel revealed a new trailer for the meta-satire hero film Wonder Man. In the trailer, we see Simon Williams struggle as an actor trying to get the role he dreamed of, Wonder Man. The whole trailer feels like a look into a real actor's life working to get a role, but then also what happens when they land the dream role they wanted. Fun fact for the fans, the character Wonder Man was a villain against the Avengers in the comics before becoming an ally to them. So maybe we can see more Wonder Man in the future. To finish off the news, we get to move into the more spooky side. Ooh. Fans of Screamboat, if they exist, should be happy to know that a sequel has been confirmed. So far, we have no release date for the movie, but according to Variety, the movie is going to build off the cliffhanger from the first one, with filmmakers saying, fans can expect the sequel to build on that legacy with even more outrageous set pieces and gruesome comedy. Development begins next year. So give it a couple more years and we'll see the horrifying Mickey and Minnie duo in action. And with that, the news comes to a close. Be sure to stick around because we still have some haunting packs to get to. And speaking of, let's see what spooky movie Josh covers in Mole Movies.
Hey everyone, my name is Josh Oswald, and welcome to Mole Movies, where every week I watch a movie that's somewhat underappreciated, underground, or straight up forgotten about, and then I give you my thoughts on them and what I like so much about them. Don't worry, I won't be pulling any 1923 Serbian silent films told from the perspective of a sad shoelace, but we might get there eventually. So with all that out of the way, let's get talking about today's film, It Comes at Night, directed by Trey Edward Schultz and released in the US on June 9th, 2017. Set in a dystopian and apocalyptic world, we follow a family who secures themselves in the woods and have to handle the arrival and integration of another family. While not the craziest occurrence during this type of setting, it feels larger in scale when you see exactly how tenuous and attentive this family is to its survival methods, only to see how much they have to change just to give themselves hope of humanity lasting through this exterior threat. This film was advertised quite a lot as a modern monster horror movie, with a lot of attention directed toward what exactly comes at night, especially since it's, the title of the movie, but the director had a different idea in mind. One aspect to the arrival of whatever the hell they're talking about in the title is the paranoia that plays into the waiting. There's a consistent foreboding tone throughout the film with its abstract and uneasy nightmares, to the extremely dark scenes lit only through small natural flames, amping up the fear of the unknown, but also placing you in the shoes of the characters as you realize you have just as much information on this chaotic world as they do. Not only is a lot of information being fed to you through an unreliable narrator, but that builds a lack of trust between not only the narrator and the other family, but a lack of trust between the viewer and protagonist, which not only ties well into the horror film aspect of It Comes at Night, but also ties directly into the main theme. This film is almost like a modern portrayal of tribalism and civilization, a world overcome with ruin, a complete lack of knowledge of the outside world and what could be out there, and the vastness of the unknown. Whether that be in a tangible and physical sense or a more abstract notion of overall knowledge, it really gives you a feeling of jamais vu, which just describes a feeling of inexperience in a familiar place. We see trees, a forest, working cars, the occasional electricity, and then the dog will bark at nothing in the distance, followed by a terrifying, trippy nightmare sequence that immediately makes you feel more paranoid and afraid of just all the concepts of horror waiting for you in the vastness. And that concept is what elevates this film. The way it uses paranoia and tribalistic survival methodologies really connects to the viewer's anxiety and makes it difficult to find comfort even in the softer scenes in the film, playing with your head throughout the whole runtime. And that's exactly the kind of filmmaking that makes films like this so impactful. However, I'm gonna have to leave it there. This film is patient and bleak, and really benefits from not having a lot of context beforehand. So watch this where you can and form your own opinion. I would give It Comes at Night a 9 out of 10, and I highly recommend this to anyone who enjoyed films like The Thing, The Lighthouse, and Hereditary. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.
What another great pack, Josh. I hope you have a great Halloween and get some of the good candy. Anyways, next up is a pack from Rogue's Gallery. Today we're learning about Pennywise. So let's see what it is all about.
Spooky season has struck the show this week, so on Rogue's Gallery, we're going to make sure to dive into a villain who's known for their horror. The villain of this week is Pennywise the Dancing Clown. So all of you who have fear of clowns, buckle up, because we're going to dive right into it. Pennywise the Dancing Clown originates from the Stephen King novel It, which was later turned into a 2-part miniseries in 1990, and then a movie in 2017, followed by a sequel in 2019. It is set to release a new series next Sunday. It follows a supernatural alien creature who is usually depicted as a scary clown who can shapeshift reality through his ability to manipulate fear. Every 27 years, the poor town of Derry, Maine has a rising spike in missing children and is tormented by Pennywise's unfathomable terror. Being billions of years old, he is famously known for meeting his demise to a group of kids referred to as the Losers Club, a group of kid outcasts that band together to have to fight their greatest fears and take down this hellish threat. In my opinion, Pennywise's most iconic act throughout his appearances in the media is the killing of a young boy named Georgie Denbrough. On one rainy day, he was running around in the street with a little paper boat that he had. He was following it down the stream and it accidentally fell into the sewer. Looking for his lost item, he ended up staring his own death straight in the face. A drawn-out conversation with this strange-looking stranger leads to an iconic and horrific death that is a staple in the horror genre. One of my favorite features of the miniseries and the movies is how it shows Pennywise having a run-in with every single main character a part of the Losers Club, and showing how good he is at manipulating every single kid's fear. He ranges from abusive parents to recently lost siblings, and he's able to somehow make their irrational fears become rational. I think these are very integral points of the story that don't just help out flesh out each character, but it also makes Pennywise feel as this undefeatable looming threat. One of my favorite examples of this is when Pennywise runs into Bill Denbrough, Georgie's older brother. He really strikes fear into him by just showing the guilt that Bill has for his younger brother being killed. It is a fear that you wouldn't really think about as much, and I think it is so important that it's highlighted so well. Pennywise is a prime fear-mongering villain who even takes that concept to new heights. The more he can play with the fear of the children of Derry, the stronger he becomes. The tastier of a meal they seem to him, and it only helps him grow. He makes them fearful of even having a fear. He is one of the most scariest and iconic horror villains in the horror genre, and by far out of all clowns. So much so that whenever you see a red balloon, even if it's just for a split second, you can't stop but to think about him. Thank you for listening to my breakdown to one of the most spooky and feared characters in the horror genre. Make sure to stop by next week to witness another iconic villain's breakdown. I'll see you soon, and have a happy Halloween.
Man, what another great installment of Rogue's Gallery. Still not really a fan of clowns, but it was a good job. Well, up next is actually a pack from me. Ending off the Halloween-themed packs with a pack about Halloween. Take it away, me. Boo! Did I scare you? No? Oh, okay. Well, welcome back to Now Screaming. Today is a very special day for horror movies. It's October 31st, the day most horror movies are watched on. Now, not to disappoint, but I'm going to talk about another reboot from a classic franchise. Which one? I don't know. There's a lot of good ones to choose from, but I think Halloween kills it. Halloween kills it? Today's movie is Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills is a 2021 slasher that was written by Scott Teems and Danny McBride, and co-written by the director of the film, David Gordon Green. This is a direct sequel to the 2018 movie Halloween, and even has another sequel, Halloween Ends, from 2022, which I will definitely not talk about. This movie takes a pretty interesting approach, taking place right where the last movie left off. Michael Myers survives the burning house Laurie trapped him in and goes on another rampage through Haddonfield, while the townspeople desperately band together to take him down. And if you're wondering how this is all executed, then listen to this. If Halloween 2018 asked the question, what if we made a sequel 25 years after the original series debut? Halloween Kills asked the question, what if Michael Myers was the main character and Laurie Strode was hospitalized? And it works? Like really well? Why does it work? This movie is the perfect slasher to watch on a spooky Halloween night. What's not to love about a movie with lots of fun characters, great scares, and brutal kills? But wait, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's get to the PGS scale. Plot. Honestly, the story's nothing to write home about. In fact, it's the main reason this movie has mixed fan reception. Lots of decisions made by characters are pretty ridiculous, with the only reason being for Michael to have easy victims for the kill count. This also pairs with a controversial ending that left lots of people confused. This stuff I can overlook because everything else works for me, but there are definitely moments that left me saying, why did they do that? 3 out of 5. Gore. Where do I start? This movie has more victims than any other Halloween movie in the franchise, so if you're against gore, I'd probably skip this one. Michael Myers outdoes himself with how fast and lethal he is to these poor people. But you know what they say, slasher's gonna slash. 5 out of 5. Scares. As mentioned before, Halloween Kills follows Michael Myers like a main character. This means we see so much action as he goes from person to person on his killing spree. This movie packs a mighty punch with great jump scares scattered throughout its hour 46-minute runtime. 4 out of 5. That gives Halloween Kills a PGS rating of 4 out of 5. And that's all for this episode of Now Screaming. Have a happy Halloween, and I'll see you next time. Woo! Great pack again, me. You sure killed this Halloween pack. Okay, I really need to stop doing these corny bits. But anyways, if you enjoyed this spooky special, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to never miss an upload from us. I've been your ghoulish host, Corby Raridan, and this has been Spooky Central. Stay spooky!